Okay, today we are learning how to evaluate expressions. Yesterday we talked about what a term is, what an expression is, what an equation is. We've defined those things. And we looked at simplifying them and reducing them down to their most basic form following order of operations. Today we're going to take it one step further and we're going to say, okay, here's an expression. It's simplified, and we're going to take some of those variables and we're going to define them. We're going to define them as specific values, and we're going to see how order of operations takes into effect with these expressions once we define these variables. So we're going to start with this one right here. You might have an expression like 3x plus y minus 2, and we might define x as being positive 2, and we might define y as being positive 3. Most of the time your work might tell you what these values are defined as, but if it doesn't, we're occasionally allowed to define them however we want. In this case, though, we're told x is 2, y is 3. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take those values and we're going to plug them in. So we look at this here. We're going to take this x, we're going to say 3 and 2. We're going to say parentheses 2. We're going to separate that out using the parentheses there. We're going to plug this in using parentheses 3 minus 2, and you'll notice with these separated like this, now we've got our next step already set up. Whenever I have two numbers separated by a parentheses like this, order of operations and what we've learned about math through the years says that these two things need to get multiplied. So 3 times 2, that's going to give us 6. 6 plus 3 minus 2. We have to take care of that first, and then we can do the addition subtraction after. So 6 plus 3 minus 2, we can do all of that in one quick step. That's going to be 7. And there's our solution. Okay? So let's take this to the next step. A minus b minus a times negative b. Okay, and we've got a few things to plug in here. We've got a defined as negative 5 and b defined as positive 3. So we're going to put these in. We're going to see how this plays out. So a is negative 5. Let me go ahead and put this in. And again, I'm going to try to be careful here when I'm plugging things in to use parentheses. I'm going to upgrade this parentheses to a bracket just to keep things clear here. Then we're going to plug this in like that, minus negative 5. And then here, negative. Again, going to use a bracket to make that clear. Okay? Now, parentheses, as we know, tell us to look at them first. Brackets get priority over parentheses, so that means we need to look at this group here and this guy right here. We need to take care of the brackets first, and then we're going to be able to take care of the parentheses after. So let's take a look at this here. Within this bracket, we've got a negative 5 minus a positive 3. Okay, now minus a positive, that's basically just double subtraction, or it basically turns it into a subtraction problem. So when we've got a negative number minus a positive, they're both technically negative. The rules say we add the values, keep the sign. They have the same sign, both negative, add value, keep that sign. So 5 plus 3, that's 8, and the sign we're keeping is a negative. Great, 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 great. We'll go ahead and keep that in parentheses, saying that we took all of that and put it into this package here. And then we're going to look at this guy right here. So let me just copy everything else down. Okay. This is negative parentheses 3, which is just going to convert it easily into a nice negative 3. And that plays pretty nicely. A positive gets changed to a negative. One quick simple step. Okay. Then we're going to take it one more layer down. We're going to copy this thing because we don't need to touch it just yet. But we do need to look at these two because next on our order of operations is multiplication. And that's going to be negative 5 times negative 3. Negative 5 times negative 3 is going to be a positive 15. But of course we've got that minus sign on the outside of it. So we're going to need to take that into account on our next step. Okay, so negative 8 minus 15, kind of like what we did up here. We're going to just follow that same principle. 2 negatives in a row, we add the values, so 8 plus 15, and we're going to keep that negative sign down here. So negative 23 is our solution here. If A is negative 5 and B is 3, the solution we get is negative 23. All right, one more, and then we'll take a short break. Negative A times A minus AX times X minus A. We're going to define A as negative 2 and X as positive 4. So let's just plug this in. Let's follow the order here. Negative 2, bracket, negative 2 minus negative 2, 4. Okay, and another bracket, 4 minus negative 2 in parentheses. Okay, now we'll look at the brackets. We'll try to do what we can inside the brackets first. Within this bracket, the first thing we have to do is this multiplication. That's the first thing we have to do before we can do anything else with the subtraction or the negative 2. So we need to deal with this. This is going to be negative 2 times positive 4. That's going to give us, just copy this down here, negative 2. It's going to give us minus negative 8. Okay. And then we have 4 minus negative 2. Minus a negative is going to turn that into a positive. Okay, so that's one quick, easy step there. We've done multiplication here. We've combined some signs here. We've got this all set up. This is just about ready to do some addition, and then we'll be able to work with the brackets after. Let me grab my orange. We'll take it another step down. We've got negative 2. We'll come back to that one in a little bit. Let me go ahead and hit the parentheses here. Because we're going to have negative 2, and then once again this is going to become a positive, just like we had in the previous step. So that's positive 8, and then this we can go ahead and combine. 4 plus 2, that gives us 6. Okay, very good. Let me switch to black. Great. Negative 2, as we've already done twice before. Negative, that's going to become a positive 2. Okay, then we need to combine these two inside the parentheses. Negative 2 plus 8, it's going to give us a positive 6 in that situation because they're opposite signs. We subtract values, 8 minus 2, and then we keep the sign of the bigger number. The bigger number is 8, so we keep a positive sign on that. Let me close those parentheses out, and then we'll write our 6 down. Okay. And now we're ready to multiply straight across. There is no more addition, subtraction to do. We don't have to include that step at the end. We've done everything inside the parentheses. We've taken care of all of that. All that's left is to multiply straight across. So 2 times 6, that's going to give us 12. 12 times 6 again is going to give us 72. So 72 is our solution when A is negative 2 and X is positive 4. Okay? I'm going to take a quick break for Today in Awesome. For today's TIA, I just wanted to show you guys a quick slideshow of a few pictures that I've drawn myself. Didn't have a whole lot of an idea here yet. Still waiting to hear from some of you guys what you might think. Let me know what you think of these. They're really bad, but they're something fun that I did, that I used to do for other students of mine, and just thought you might like to see some of them. If you want to share any other ideas that I can react to, or any other things that I can look at, feel free to say in the comments or shoot me an email. I'm always listening for suggestions for this. Thanks. Hope you enjoy. All right, we're back to our lesson for today. Got two more problems to work through. Hopefully this won't go too long. But I wanted to talk about these because they're going to include two other things you might see in your assignments or on your quiz that maybe you hadn't seen before, or maybe you were a little less sure on. And I wanted to make sure we covered it. And, for this problem, the big trick is this guy floating up here. He's an exponent. And all an exponent means is we're going to take whatever number we plug in for a, and we're going to multiply it by itself. Okay? In this case, we're going to have two of them. If that exponent were a 3 or a 4, that would mean we would have to multiply 3 sets of the same number or 4 sets of the same number. It just depends on what that exponent says. In this case, it's two of them. So we're defining a as 1, so we're going to have to multiply 1 times 1. And we're defining x as 2, so we'll see what that does to it in a little bit. Let's go ahead and plug our numbers in, and then I'll kind of show you how these things work out. 1 squared minus 1 parentheses 2 minus 1 2 and close parentheses. Okay? Now, parentheses say, we're supposed to go to this group. We're supposed to deal with this first, so let me switch to the blue color. Okay? And let's deal with things in order here. First thing we've got to do, again, kind of following order of operations, is we've got to look at this pair. This pair needs to be multiplied together. So we're going to say 2 minus, and then what's 1 times 2? Well, it's 2. So we're going to put that in our parentheses. Just copy everything else down. Now we need to add and subtract inside the parentheses. So let's go ahead and take care of that. I'll switch to red so we can get that step out of the way. 1 squared minus 1. What is 2 minus 2? That's going to be 0. Okay? Great. We've taken care of our parentheses. We've gotten everything reduced inside the parentheses as far as we can. So now we need to take care of the exponent. The exponent comes next in PEMDAS. So 1 squared, in this case it's very easy. 1 times 1 is just going to be 1. Notice, not 2. I'm not multiplying 1 times 2. I'm multiplying 1 times a second 1. Please keep that in mind. You will mess that up if you're not keeping that in mind. Okay. Now, let's grab our black for our final step. We've got 1 times 0. Okay. 1 times 0 is 0. And if I try to take nothing away from 1, that's just going to give me a final solution of 1. Kind of did a couple of things there together. I did the multiplication, division, and then I also did the addition, subtraction, because it all kind of worked together. So 1 times 0 is 0, 1 minus 0, still 1. Okay? One other problem for this lesson. Let's look at this here. X minus bars x, y squared, minus xy. What do those bars mean? What is this? Well, it's absolute value. Absolute value takes every value, whatever you plug in, and measures its distance away from 0. So in this situation, it's asking, whatever we plug in for x, what is the value if we take away all signs? If we take everything away from it, just give me the number. So the number we're trying to plug in is -2, and I'll show you how that comes into play, as well as when we take care of it in regards to order of operations. Okay, let's plug our values in, and then we'll go from there. First, we've got x is -2 minus absolute value -2, and then we've got a -3 squared minus -2 and -3. Plugged all our numbers in. Let me switch to blue quickly. Now, order of operations says parentheses first. Well, absolute value we treat mathematically as a set of parentheses. Whenever we see the absolute value, that tells me, okay, that is an extra set of parentheses around my numbers or around my expression. So we need to look at this set actually for the very first thing we do. Before we can get to the exponent, before we can deal with the multiplication over here, this is the first thing we have to take care of. And what that's going to do is it's going to take this negative 2 on the inside, it's going to turn it into a positive 2. So we've got negative 2 minus positive 2. Okay? Let me just copy everything else down. We've taken care of that parentheses step. Then we need to knock out the exponent step, right? That's the next thing, PE. Parentheses first, exponents second. So that's going to be this guy right here. We'll copy everything else down. Negative 2 minus 2. And what is negative 3 raised to the second power? Well, it's negative 3 times negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 is going to give me a positive 9. Okay, separated by parentheses to make sure that we know next step we're going to have to do some multiplying. And we'll copy everything else down. I forgot my parentheses in the previous step, didn't I? Get that back in there, it'll be helpful. Let me grab orange. We've done parentheses, we've done exponent, we've got multiplication next. That's the next big step. And there's actually two different sets, right? We've got this set, and we've got this set. Both of those need to be multiplied. Oh, actually, I don't have to do any erasing. I accidentally left this from before. I was practicing this earlier. You guys are getting a little bit of the behind the scenes here. I practice these sometimes before I record them for you. Alright, so we've got negative 2 minus 18. 2 times 9 is going to be 18. And we keep the minus sign because it was already there in the first place. Negative 2 times negative 3 is going to give me a positive 6, but again, we keep that minus sign. It was already there, we keep it. And now, final step, we've got to take everything together and add our values. In this situation, we're adding the values because they all have a negative symbol on the outside. They've all got a negative attached in some form or another. So we're going to add all the values up. 2 plus 18, that's 20. 20 plus 6, that's 26. So we've got a 26, but all of them are negative, so my final solution also has to be negative. Okay? 26. Alright? That's my lesson for today. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to comment in the description on the assignment, or send me an email. And if you want to see more of these problems worked out, or you want to see more examples, you want some help with your homework, don't forget to do your homework and hit submit when you're done with it to give me that notification that you've got it done. Okay? Thanks so much for watching. Good luck with your assignment.